On September 14, 2001, you said that America should invade Muslim countries and convert them to Christianity. You also said that they should get all the Muslims to boycott all airlines. When asked what the alternative modes of transportation were, you suggested flying carpets.
Hang on, she's reading my lines. Go on.
Question. First of all, as a 17-year-old student of this university, Muslim, should I be converted to Christianity? Second of all, since I don't have a magic carpet, what other modes do you suggest?
You dropped a line from the first quote. It was invade their countries, kill their leaders, and convert them to Christianity. And, you know, by the way, this shows, I thought it was just, you know, American public schools that produced ignorant people. This is what America has done after World War II, after the Korean War, after we won World War II, the emperor went to MacArthur and said, okay, we're ready to convert. And MacArthur said, well, actually, we don't convert people forcibly. Also, as he's described, he said he didn't know whether to convert them to Protestantism or Catholicism. But he put out the call for Christian missionaries to come to Japan, and they poured in. And you don't convert people forcibly, but Christian missionaries have been operating throughout Japan for years, and they certainly have religious freedom in Japan. And I would add, we haven't heard a peep out of it. After the Korean War, you might learn something. After the Korean War, this exact same thing happened. A call was put out for Christian missionaries to go into South Korea. The Christian missionaries poured in, and it is one of the greatest success stories of Christianity. You'll see, at least on American college campuses, what mode of transportation? Take a camel. I just as soon not convert. Because I'm kind of a mean Christian. But if you want me to get straight to the point, there you go.
I just want to point out that it seems like you were arguing a lot against the division between liberals and conservatives. And if you thought if you were upset that your freedom of speech was being oppressed, I was wondering if you thought this was more important than oppressing religions and the rights for gay people as well, and if you thought that there was a similarity between the oppression you feel from your freedom of speech and the oppression that everybody else feels from the freedom of being able to practice their religion or their sexuality.
You must have just walked into the room because that bears no relation to my speech. As I said, both Republicans and Democrats oppose gay marriage. One is held accountable, one isn't. Both conservatives, Rush Limbaugh, quoting a liberal, used the word Negro, as did Democrats. One is considered a lynching, the other one it isn't. So your question makes no sense whatsoever, and you're a Canadian with all your teeth, so I don't know why I don't understand, but it has nothing to do with what I just gave a speech on.
I just have a really quick question. First is, who do you think was the greatest inventor of the 20th century? And the follow-up question after that.
I'm sorry, did I just go on to argue smarter than a fifth grader? We're taking questions on the speech tonight, young man.
President Obama last week, this is concerning Israel, he gave Israel an ultimatum because they were having some construction in East Jerusalem where there was a whole Palestine incident. What do you think the implications of Obama's actions towards his relationship with the U.S. and Israel are going to have on either the Middle East and like the world in general? What is this going to cause?
As I've been telling people, watching Obama handling foreign policy, I now remember from when I was a little girl what that look on my father's face was throughout the Carter administration. I think it's going to be very, very bad. I mean, it's interesting that liberals understand how fear and intimidation, they use that method against conservatives. They won't use it against our enemies. No, there they expect, Obama to just go over to the Muslim world and they'll all get tingles up their legs, the way TV hosts in America do, and he'll just be so charming. Well, no, it doesn't work like that. And you want to bring peace. Look, I think the simplest way to put this is you cannot force people to like you. You can force people to fear and respect you. And he just thinks that, well, what the media keeps telling him, he is so cool when he smokes.
I don't agree with everything you say, but I think you're the gutsiest person I've ever heard speak. So, I want to ask you a question about the political spectrum. I don't consider myself somebody who's left-wing or right-wing. I like to remain neutral a little bit as much as possible. My friend Michael Stone the front row actually sent me an email today comparing to an amoeba and called me a loony leftist. That's okay, we're friends. I just wanted to know, in terms of, you've been doing a lot of criticizing, you've been criticized a lot yourself and you've taken it, and I give you props for that as well, but I just am wondering what you would consider to be kind of an ideal society. I know we can't talk in terms of, a golden age where everything's nice and pretty and stuff like that, but you talk a lot about how people are criticized and how people throw criticisms around. So in terms of free speech, what's your ideal society for both ends of the spectrum?
Oh, I thought it was my ideal society generally, which would be no liberals and like 7-gallon flush toilets. My ideal world for freedom of speech it's freedom of speech. It's you can say anything and let the winners and losers, let them, I promise you people are smart enough to figure out the Holocaust deniers haven't developed much of a following in America. And yet they have full freedom of speech in America. And I mean, it allows people to understand error and to do thinking for themselves. It's part of living in a free society. I would limit it to speech, however, and not to nudie dancing and whether or not the strippers have to wear pasties as the Supreme Court has entered into. No, not symbolic speech, not close-up photos of women's vaginas. Speech. That's what the First Amendment refers to, and that's what I believe in.
First off, I love everything you have to say. Honestly, Ann, you kick fucking ass. Secondly, I actually want to know which month would you suggest for having this anti-gay moratorium thing? I think
no, it's not an anti-gay. You also were not listening. What is it with you people? Would you listen to the speech? It's a moratorium on talking about all things gay. Then you can resume your frenzy. Next question.
Hey, how's it going? Okay, so a few things. I'm a proud secular progressive, and I just wanted to say that there's an impression being given tonight that conservatives own free speech. As a secular progressive with many friends, I can tell you that I don't have a single friend among this group that would not defend your right to speak, even if we disagree with you. And I've supported Angela Vaughn throughout. So that was my first point. Second off is one of incomplete information.
I hope you sweep the nation.
The second thing is you mentioned the differential treatment for Harry Reid when you talked about Barack Obama's race. True, but that happens on both sides. When you have a family values conservative in America, and they spend years and years campaigning on protecting marriage and whatnot, and then they go and get busted cheating on their wife for years on end. All they do is go call up Jesus on the phone and say sorry, and that forgives them on the conservative side.
No, but what you're talking about there is a personal failing as opposed to what the outside world is saying. I promise you, no one says when a conservative Christian Republican gets caught having an affair, oh, it's okay, we know what's in his heart. Other people don't say that. We're talking about the reaction of the world to words that are said by the same people. You're bringing up a personal failing, and I can promise you, I'm not saying I can see what's in their hearts. I'm saying let's get rid of him. And that's usually what happens in districts where Republicans could be elected in the first place. Historically, when they get caught cheating on their wives, they're out. By the way, historically, Democrats are not out. So even Republicans are holding their own people to the standard they are espousing.
Hi, I'm kind of like Coulter. I might disagree with some of what you have to say, but I defend to the death your right to say it. But at the same time, in reference to what you said to that Muslim girl up there, I guess my question would be, why do you have to be such a bitch about it?
Because I was giving an informative answer that might have taught the audience something, and they started screaming to answer the question. Well, there was only one question in her long speech, and the one question was, how do you expect me to travel? Referring to a joke I had made. So if that's the only thing your little crowd in the room wanted me to do, answer that one question, you're going to get another joke. And by the way, I would also like to say this is not based on hate, and I would encourage all of you to listen carefully to what I'm saying now. There was, many years ago, a surgical procedure performed on children after they were born, removing their sense of humor, removing a sense of irony or sarcasm. And I think they've caught it and stopped it recently, but they still walk among us. They're known as liberals, and we must extend pity and concern for them. And heartfelt.
How many more questions?
Pardon?
How many more questions?
Well, we do have a dinner appointment. Why don't we wrap it up at 2? We'll take one from each side. So make it good.
Okay, my question has to do earlier with what you're talking about and the way that, say, liberals have this way of saying, oh, it's similar to,
Right.
same as, right? So, and I totally agree with you about the fact that I actually think that Obama has done a decent job, but I agree absolutely that the media has done a horrible job on reporting on it. So my question is, though, that you accuse liberals of doing these things, of constantly equating these ridiculous assumptions, while you're part of this side that keeps saying he's a Marxist, he's a Leninist, he's a socialist, things that are so ridiculous, any amount of distinction.
Okay, this is another question from someone who didn't listen to my speech. Did I call him a Marxist all night? I don't think I ever have. So save that for Glenn Beck, baby cakes. Next question.
Hi, my name's Neil. I was hoping to tease out the difference between free speech and hate speech. So my question
Free speech on what?
Free speech and hate speech. I want to kind of tease out the difference. So my question is, your kid comes home from school one day, and she says that the teacher has...
No, I don't think there is a difference. You're starting on a line that makes no sense. What's the difference in a beagle and a dog? No, free speech is free speech. You can label that speech hateful, you can call it loving, you can call it, as my speech in defense of humorless liberals just was, deeply sympathetic and heartfelt. You can call it whatever you want, but there's free speech or there is censorship. So you're starting with a premise that makes no sense, and I want to thank you all for being here tonight.